these complaints, and you fielded all these complaints, and I've been to other meetings where you've acted on complaints, like the Social Studies Fair 6 weeks ago. You fielded some alleged complaints, and what'd you do? You threw your whole entire staff and some of your strongest community volunteers under the bus and deemed them incompetent. Now you,
Yes.
And ran another fair. Okay, so now here we are again tonight. Your leadership allowing Mrs. Hebner to
I'm not kidding. Y'all want to stand here and trash everybody? You want to stand there and trash the board?
Yeah, I do.
That's what you guys want to do? Well, you know what? It's not the board. That's not who it's about, Sam. It's about the kids that go to Marlington Middle School.
Excuse me. Our kids are great. We've just had professionals stand up here and tell them, we got the great scores, we're doing good in here. Nobody likes discipline. Discipline is going to be a tough nut anywhere you go to in the world. What we cannot have anymore is the board, as our board, the people that works for us, punch us in the gut and drive a stake through the heart of parent and teacher and student relationships. That's not going to happen no more. You cannot do that. In the real world, the world that I work in, I'd be fired. I'd be fishing out of the river to live. And that's what I'm asking. And also, now, this is bigger than what we're seeing here, guys. Do you all realize that we are on our third principal in 3 years at the high school?
Yeah.
You know, this is a problem.
Yeah.
We have got to curb and retain some of these people here, Mr. Grimes. We have got to
Sam,
and the leadership
it's our job to work for the kids of Pocahontas County and do the best job that we
well,
can.
that's okay. Thank you.
Whenever we see something, we're going to change it if it's not right and if it's not done fairly. All right?
Yeah, okay.
I've got numbers that I can give you about these kids whenever they get to high school and what happens to them at that level. You know, I want this staff to do well. That's why we're here. We didn't have to have this meeting. We had this meeting because Mrs. Smith had a great idea that we ought to hear from the staff, and that's what we're doing.
Well, I think
We're
it's
here to
great.
support the staff.
And now I'm a parent, and I have a official complaint. I want to read my complaint, and I want to log this in. Dear Pocahontas County Board of Education.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can y'all, sir? I'm having trouble hearing Mr. Gibson.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Please accept this as my official complaint and request for this board. Due to your most recent irresponsible and slandering comments and remarks about the students, parents, and staff at Marlington Middle School, I request that Emory Grimes and Jessica Hefner be fired immediately. I request that the remaining board members follow standard operating procedures to fill these positions soon and not disrupt business at our school system. Also, please note and add this complaint to the next agenda of regular scheduled Pocahontas County Board of Education meeting for follow-up discussion and action. And I want to fan this to Dr. Bechtel, who I really respect and admire. And I'm really, it's like a muddy stream. You know, when there's a pollutant in the stream, like upstream. And until somebody goes in and cleans up that mess and we get rid of the pollutant, everybody downstream is going to be breathing mud. And I feel that that's what we got because of your leadership, Mr. Grimes, allowing this stuff to happen.
Why don't you run for Board of Education?
Well, you know, I hadn't even thought about that, but maybe I do need
This is from a
to.
man who got a 12-year-old kid kicked off the football team last year. Thank you, Sam, for doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Grimes. Now, you know, this is...
Several people have
I mean, let's talk about it. Just let me.
All right, come on.
Thank you.
We promised we would meet with the staff, and that was here to do. If we got problems here, we need to correct them. If we need to send you resources to help you do that, we are willing to do that. But we are all in this together. If Marlington Middle School fails, we all fail. And that's why we're asking the questions of the staff and Mr. Riley, because we want to know these things. Parents call us, and I get a lot of phone calls, and I know Jessica does, probably Joey do, that we never get because parents are scared to death that teachers will retaliate against their child. We hear that. But we hear that.
Yeah, but that again is repeating what you heard, and that's.
But what we need to do is get together as a staff and as a board, and if we can help Mornington Middle School in any way, if we can have something where the parents can come in and meet with us all, and we stop getting some of these calls. Mr. Riley, you can explain how you do the discipline. Mrs. Ray can explain her math scores and how, I thought you done a great job. I didn't know we was talking about you, because we didn't mention any names, and I told you that when you called. I had no clue it was Miss Ray. But that's what we have to do in Pocahontas County. And whenever we send these kids to the high school, they have to be prepared.
And we're doing, I think, a daggone good job of that.
17 honor graduates were from wrong.
So, go ahead.
Maybe what we need to say is that we had this meeting up here and that maybe we were wrong and we
Yeah,
found some
I mean-
good things out about this school and stand behind them and let that be the statement that comes from this.
And I hope that and that needs to go into the Pocahontas Times and or the radio station. I find it so disheartening that this staff, this administration, has had to defend themselves.
I do too. It's
I
just totally agree.
Same
I
thing.
wish I would have been the 26th phone call to compliment this Marlton Middle School.
Amen.
I have to go.
When things are going well, people don't call you. You know, so the majority of the people that have kids in this school aren't going to call you. The people that are calling you are the people that don't come to the open houses. They don't communicate with their children's teachers. They don't teach their own kids. They rely on someone else to do the discipline for them. I can't understand that. I raised my child, right? I don't expect the school to do it. Plain and simple.
Everybody knows I'm very vocal now. I was very quiet. I have one question for you. Well, actually, I have two. The first one is, I would like a list of all of the problems you have with our school. If I have a problem in my classroom, I stand in front of my students and say, this is my problem I have with you. We need to fix it. How are we going to achieve that? I think that if our school is in such a disastrous mess, that we should have a list of the disaster problems so we can get FEMA in here to help us out. Secondly, there is a protocol in place, Mr. Grimes, and it should go contact the parent by the teacher. If that is not resolved, it then goes to the administrator, which is my boss, Mr. Riley. Then, if that's not handled correctly, it then goes to the superintendent, which is still currently Dr. Becker. And then, us, as a team, decide the issue. My understanding is, we haven't been following that protocol. So I think that if we're going to put these plans in place and to resolve issues, I can't fix it if it's not working. And I tell my 8th graders and my 7th graders that all the time. I teach 7th grade, I teach 8th grade. I see the growth difference. The one child that's been in all that has been in there every year for 3 years, came back, you send him back, I was immediately like, oh no, don't send him back. Ask Mr. Riley. I took that child on not 1, not 2, but 3 trips on a school bus. He was the best behaved and had more fun than any other 8th grader there. Because he had matured. Not because of Ed, not because of